Ash drifted like snow through the endless void. Elijah's breath came ragged as he helped Alec to his feet. They stood in silence, the only sound a distant hum, low, pulsing, like a heartbeat trapped beneath the world. "I don't know where we are," Alec said, his voice hoarse. Elijah scanned the horizon. Nothing, only ash. Then, a flicker, a single ember dancing against the dead wind. As it floated closer, Elijah realized it wasn't fire. It was a memory, a child's laugh, a rose held gently in small hands, a lullaby. The ember brushed his palm and vanished, leaving warmth behind. More followed, each a fragment, a lifetime scattered in flame. "They're pieces of her," Elijah murmured. "She's left a trail." They followed the embers. After what felt like hours, or no time at all, they arrived at a ridge where a circle of blackened thrones lay half buried in ash. Above them hovered a figure of flame and feather, neither male nor female, but shifting like smoke given form. The Ember Custodian. "You seek the other heir," it said, voice echoing like a choir in ruin. "But to reach her, you must invoke the Accord." "What is the Ember Accord?" Alec asked, still swaying from blood loss. "A pact older than kingdoms. Memory for memory. Flame for flame." Elijah stepped forward. "Then take mine." The custodian shook its head. "Not you alone. Both must offer. Two souls bound by journey, not blood." Alec grimaced. "What happens if we refuse?" "Then she remains lost. The mirror wins." They didn't speak. They didn't need to. Elijah offered his most precious memory, the day Lysandra laughed without fear beneath the cherry trees in the palace garden. Alec gave his first real joy, winning a knife duel against his brother, pride shining in his father's eyes. The ashes swallowed their offerings. The circle of thrones ignited. In the heart of the flame, a gate formed. But it did not open outward. It opened inward. They were pulled inside. Scene 21, the heart-glass sanctuary. Light surged, blue and violet and crimson. Then silence. They stood in a cathedral of mirrors, but unlike before, these were soft, curved, like the inside of a shell. At the center lay a pool of clear water, and floating above it, Lysandra. Her body shimmered, suspended. Her eyes were closed, her hands folded over her chest. Around her spiraled mirrored feathers, each one etched with runes of protection and pain. Elijah reached for her. "Careful," Alec warned, but it was too late. The runes flared, and Elijah was pulled into the pool. The mirror within. He found himself in Lysandra's mind. Snow fell. A palace stood in ruin. Children laughed in distant echoes, then screamed. He wandered through her memories, her training, her exile, her pact with Kyle. But he also saw her doubt, her refusal to surrender entirely. She had chosen the mirror, but not blindly. At the core of it all stood Lysandra, not the girl he remembered, but a queen in full armor, her eyes glowing violet and gold. "You shouldn't have come," she said. "I came to bring you back. You can't. Not without becoming part of me." She reached out. "If we merge, I'll remember everything. But so will you, and it might destroy you." Elijah didn't flinch. "Then destroy me. But let's end this together." She closed her eyes. Then they touched. Two become flame. Back in the sanctuary, the pool erupted in fire. Alec watched as both bodies, Elijah and Lysandra, rose from the water, light burning in their eyes. They were still themselves, but something had changed. They had shared truths no warrior ever should. They knew each other completely now. Pain, joy, betrayal, forgiveness. Lysandra's voice rang out. "Kyle waits in the heart of Carrington. The seal is not broken, yet. But the final gate stands open." Alec stepped forward. "Then let's finish this." As the sanctuary dissolved around them, a single mirrored feather drifted down. Elijah caught it. It shimmered, half violet, half gold. They emerged from the sanctuary into a night that was not sky, but space, open and terrible, filled with fractured constellations. Above them loomed Carrington, but not the Carrington they had known. This was the first city, its towers broken and suspended mid-collapse, floating in a vast vacuum. Pieces of its glory drifted in slow orbit, tethered only by magic and memory. The path to the heart of it, a spiral causeway of glass and bone, shimmered with violet flame. Alec's voice was hushed. "Is this a vision?" "No," Lysandra replied, stepping forward, armor glinting. "This is where the world began, where the seal was forged, and where Kyle will end it. The final seal." The trio walked the spiral causeway, each step echoing like a drumbeat in the void. Elijah felt the merged memories still swirling inside him. He saw Lysandra not as a mystery or a mission, but as a woman divided, her choices carved from necessity, her strength born from loneliness. Lysandra walked ahead, eyes locked on the citadel ahead. "I remember now," she said. "The throne wasn't built for power. It was built to bind what was never meant to be free." Alec frowned. "Kyle?" "No," she said. What Kyle kept locked away. Even he didn't understand it. As they entered the central hall, the stars above flickered, then began to vanish, one by one. There in the center of the sky stood the throne of broken stars, made of void light and iron, wrapped in roots of petrified time. And sitting upon it, Kyle, he did not rise. "You followed the path," he said softly, "even knowing it would cost you everything." Lysandra stood firm. "You never wanted conquest. You wanted release." Kyle smiled, a bitter, broken expression. "You think you understand?" "We do," Elijah said, "because we've seen what you tried to lock away." Behind the throne, the shadows shifted. A second presence stirred, vast, forgotten, ancient. Kyle whispered, "I was the lock, the seal. I am the exile, the being beneath." The creature emerged, a mass of wings and whispers, not evil but raw. Unfiltered potential. It wore no face but reflected every face they feared. It was the first flame, born before names, magic itself, before it was caged. Kyle rose, shaking. "If you destroy me, it awakens fully." Alec stepped forward, blade ready. "So what? Let it wake." But Lysandra held up her hand. "No." Everyone turned. Lysandra walked toward the throne and sat. The feathers on her armor glowed. "I will take his place," she said. "The seal doesn't need to be broken. It needs a new guardian." Kyle staggered back, horrified. "You don't understand what eternity means." "I do," she whispered. "I saw it, in the mirror." Elijah stepped toward her. "You don't have to do this alone." Lysandra turned. Her smile was sad, but unshaken. "That's just it. I won't be alone. You carry half the flame now. We're both the heirs." A pulse surged through the throne. Kyle collapsed. The stars stopped falling. The first flame shimmered, then bowed. It whispered, "Agreement." A new dawn. The void receded. Carrington reformed around them, though forever changed. Kyle lay still, breath shallow but alive. The throne crumbled to dust. Lysandra stood in the center of the Hall of Stars, her eyes glowing with a light not of magic, but of balance. Elijah looked to her. "What now?" "We rebuild," she said. "And we remember." Alec clapped him on the shoulder. "And maybe retire." Elijah chuckled. "Not likely." They walked to the gates of the first city as dawn finally crept across the real world. A new age had begun. The city of Carrington was no longer under siege, but it was not at peace. The sky above had shifted, a marble swirl of storm clouds and pale gold, where once it was blue. Magic itself seemed thicker, more aware. Citizens emerged from hiding, but they no longer looked at the world with certainty. Something had changed, and not everyone welcomed it. Lysandra stood atop the remains of the western spire, her hands outstretched. Beneath her, violet runes pulsed with life, not destruction. Elijah joined her, wary. "You're feeding the ley lines." "I'm calming them," she said. "The flame's restless. It thinks we broke a promise." He nodded slowly. "And did we?" Her silence was answer enough. 3 days later, they arrived. Scene 29. The pale envoys. Not on ships, not on horses. They simply appeared, pale figures in robes of shifting gray, their faces blank, skin etched with living script. The pale envoys were said to be myth, emissaries of the unbound accord, a council that governed what happened after a seal broke. A crowd gathered as the envoys entered the broken palace gates. One bowed. "You have disturbed the order. The flame has spoken. Its balance cannot exist unanchored." Elijah stepped forward. "She is the anchor." "No," the envoy said, eyes glinting like quicksilver. "She is the match. The fire needs a second." All eyes turned to Elijah. The ritual was ancient. Scene 30. The binding flame. In the ruins of the original throne chamber, the pale envoys inscribed a double circle, a mirror of flame and reflection. "Elijah Carrington," one intoned, "do you accept the twin flame? Do you bear the burden willingly?" Elijah looked to Lysandra. She was radiant and solemn, but something flickered in her expression. Fear. "I do," he said. Flame ignited beneath his feet. His body rose. The embers from the void realm surged into his chest, rewriting blood and bone. Pain laced with memory. He screamed, but did not fall. When it ended, his eyes mirrored Lysandra's, half violet, half gold. Scene 31, Ash of the Ancients. The ceremony stirred something older. Deep beneath Carrington, beyond the bone library, past even the shattered vaults, something ancient awoke. Stone cracked, dust breathed. The Ashborn, the forgotten first guardians of the flame, stirred from petrified slumber. They were neither men nor beasts, but beings sculpted from heat and dust, bound to rise if the flame ever found new hosts. They did not speak. They only marched toward Carrington. Alec met them at the edge of the shale fields. "Parley?" he asked, blade drawn. The lead Ashborn leaned forward, eyes glowing red. "Trial," it whispered. "Flame must prove worth. The trial of 7 flames. 7 trials, each marked by fire, each one older than the kingdoms of men." The Ashborn encircled Carrington and summoned a dome of molten glass. Within, Elijah and Lysandra would face each trial together, or fail and relinquish their right to carry the flame. Trial 1, truths left unspoken. They relived every lie they told each other, every fear they hid. Trial 2, weight of the dead. Phantoms of those they failed. Soldiers, parents, friends pressed in on them. Trial 3, memory of betrayal. They saw each other turning against the realm. Not illusion, possibility. Each trial drew blood and memory. By the 4th, Elijah staggered. By the 6th, Lysandra wept. But together, they stood. The 7th flame, the final trial. No weapons, no magic, just a choice. Before them stood 2 doors, one leading to safety, the other to annihilation. But only one could pass. Alec stood on the far side, bleeding, dying. Lysandra moved first. She walked to Elijah and handed him her sword. "I trust you to choose," she said. Elijah did not hesitate. He walked to the door labeled Oblivion and opened it. Blinding white light swallowed him. Then, silence. Then, a heartbeat. The dome shattered. The Ashborn knelt. The flame is worthy. The crown of cinders. With the trials past, the pale envoys revealed the final purpose of the bonded flame. It was not meant to rule, but to guide, to shape the next cycle of the world. They presented a crown, not golden, but forged from cinders and time glass, shaped from the remnants of every broken seal before. "You are not monarchs," one envoy said. "You are keepers." The crown hovered between Elijah and Lysandra. They placed it together on the altar at the center of the palace. "We will not rule," Lysandra said. "We will listen." A new age was named, the era of Flameborn Accord. The burnt map. Weeks passed. Reconstruction began. But beneath the tower, a scout brought a strange discovery. A map, burned but unbroken, hidden beneath Kyle's private chambers. It showed Carrington, and beyond it, a continent that did not exist on any known charts. Inscribed in old flame tongue, the first mirror, the last door. Lysandra studied it with dread. If Kyle knew of this place, she said, he never spoke of it, but he was afraid of it. Elijah traced the sigil on the map's corner. It pulsed. Some doors, it seemed, were not sealed. They were waiting. The black horizon. A fleet was assembled, not warships. Explorers. Lysandra, Elijah, Alec, and a small band of flame-marked voyagers set sail toward the unknown continent. The seas grew dark within days. Stars disappeared. Storms came not from wind, but from memory, waves of shared dreams, waking nightmares. One sailor vanished, only his name remaining on everyone's lips, though none could recall his face. Elijah stood on the deck one night, watching the horizon turn black. From it rose a tower, one that mirrored the one in Carrington, but upside down, inverted. Lysandra joined him. "We found the last mirror," she said. Beneath the inverted spire, the shore was not earth but glass. Each step cracked with echoes of the past. As they approached the tower, the flame inside them flickered, not in warning but recognition. "This place," Elijah murmured, "isn't new. It's the origin." Inside the spire, time unraveled. They saw versions of themselves, some who had died, some who had ruled, some who had never met. And in the heart of the tower, a mirror. Not broken, not empty. It showed one thing. The flame. Escaping. It had never been sealed. It had allowed itself to be bound. And now, it was leaving.